Hello everyone, my name is Blaine Philippi, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the importance of the Doryphorus in Greek culture. And to start with that, I want to go ahead and start by talking about idealism in the sculpture and in Greek culture. So in the sculpture, you can first look at it and recognize that it is a figure, it is a male figure, and that it's a useful male figure. And it's useful, and you can notice this because there are really no wrinkles prevalent, and it is made in a way that it looks athletic and nimble in a useful way. And then also an extremely idealized form in this sculpture is the canon of proportions, which was actually invented by the sculptor Polycletus. The canon of proportions is not naturalistic because it is a more of a geometric and arithmetic way of creating a figure so that it's seen as more perfect or beautiful, or as another synonym would be idealized. And then also in a very idealized way in which a sculpture was made was the muscularity of the sculpture. Now, although muscles aren't unnaturalistic, most Greeks probably did not look like this, so therefore it is an idealized way in which the sculpture was formed. And also the nakedness of the sculpture is also one of the major important parts of idealism, because as Sparrow states, in the gender identity and the body in Greek and Roman sculpture, the penis is smaller than the biological equivalent. This is highly significant because Polycletus actually did this on purpose, to one, make the figure look bigger itself, and to two, not to take away from what the Greeks found to be ideal. They really weren't concerned with genital size, they were more concerned with the youthfulness, the canon proportions, and the muscularity. Now, when looking at the naturalized part of the body, Barros also states that the muscular nude stands in a contrapposto form. This is very noticeable when looking at how Doryphorus' head is kind of turned towards the right, the hips are turned in the opposite direction to the left, and then also the right leg bears all the weight while the left leg follows behind. This is all significant, and although this isn't a naturalized way of standing, it is naturalistic because it represents that Doryphorus is in motion. This is natural because people are always in motion. And this wasn't seen before until this time, because in past eras, such as the Egyptian era, the sculptures were very standstill and didn't move. Now, Doryphorus is highly significant and represents Greek culture very well for many reasons, but as Doryphorus states from the Companion to Ancient Aesthetics, that the scholars explore the philosophical affinities of the Doryphorus. The Doryphorus is a symmetrical body which is linked to cosmic harmony. Pythagoras and the Hippocratic medical writings rightly point out that the aesthetic responses were grounded in a social construct where athletics, military training, and art flowed all together. Now, the Doryphorus does a very good job at depicting this because it itself is a piece of art and it represents military and athletics. And it does so through the use of the javelin or spear. Now, the javelin or spear cannot be seen in older models of the Doryphorus because it was made of wood and would have deteriorated over time. However, newer models it can be seen. This is highly significant because the spear or javelin represents masculinity, which the Greeks held to be a very high value in their culture. And it also represents, like I said, war or athletics, which the Greeks also found to be very prestigious, as it was mostly the wealthy and the youthful who participated in these events. Now, when looking at the Doryphorus, like I said earlier, you can tell that it's in motion. Now, the Doryphorus being in motion is significant because, one, it is something new that has never been seen before until this time, really, but it's also significant because it represents the culture as a whole. Spark states that from the Polycletus, the Doryphorus on tradition, that the canon seems to regard Greek society as socially volatile. Now, this is extremely important and truthful because it is. It represents Greek culture as being moving, never standing still, unlike previous cultures such as the Egyptian culture that never really changed much. So the Doryphorus is highly significant in Greek culture because it is not only a beautiful piece of art that was made by a highly important artist, but it also represents what the Greeks held to be extremely valuable and what their culture overall looked like. Thank you.